Hey guys, Teaksy here and welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be doing something a little bit different, having a little bit of fun, and I'm going to be ranking all of the Black Ops Cold War multiplayer maps from worst to best, excluding any of the Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2 maps that have been brought back, which leaves us with a total of 17 maps to go through. Technically I suppose you could say 16, if depends what your opinion is on Miami Strike, whether it's his own map or not, but I've included it anyway. So without further ado, let's get into today's list, and starting us off at number 17, and the worst map in Black Ops Cold War in my opinion is Cartel. Now Cartel was in from the very beginning, and the map initially is on the slightly larger side, and there's lots of nothing parts on the map. I think parts of the map where just not really anything happens, no sort of gunfights, it's quite quiet. The visibility was obviously very poor in the early stages with all the bushes in the middle of the map. They did eventually kind of improve that, but I still don't think the map is that great. I don't think it flows very well, and to be honest with you, I can't remember the last time that I played that map. You just don't really see it in the rotation anymore, and even if it is there, nobody's voting for it. So Cartel, in my opinion, is the worst map in the game. And number 16, we've got Collateral. Now this map came in Season 4, which was the season when I didn't really play that often, and I'll be honest with you, I completely forgot this map was even in the game until I came to rank them. I've only played it a handful of times. I don't really like it. I don't think it flows too well. There's too many different sort of ways and places people can be, and the only reason it is above Cartel is due to experience. I mean, because Cartel was there at the start, I played it a lot, I've had bad games, I've got frustrated with it, whereas with Collateral, I've hardly played it, so I've not really got mad at the map, but I think if I'd played it quite a bit, it probably could have been below Cartel, but between the two of them, they're both awful, in my opinion. At 15, we've got America. Now, America came in during Season 6, but it didn't get a 24/7 playlist straight away like the program, and it just never came up in the rotation. It was like you'd be searching and searching and searching, you'd always get maps that were already in the game, you'd never play it, and then eventually they did bring a 24/7 playlist in for it, but I only played it a handful of times. I didn't really get on with the map, and then again, it still doesn't really show in the rotation anymore. I didn't realise this at the time, but I believe it is a copy and paste from campaign as well. But yeah, this map just ranks low down for me because I've hardly played it. Again, very similar to Collateral, and you just don't see it in the rotation. It's really weird. So yeah, America at 15. At 14, we've got Armada. Now Armada again was in from the start, and I like the concept of this map, but I just felt it didn't flow too well. I mean, they obviously built quite a few maps for the combined arms mode, which were obviously quite big maps, and then they made some of them a little bit smaller to kind of do 6v6, and I just think there was too many places on Armada where sort of snipers could set up, like either end of the map or even mid-map in them little windows, and I think if you're an SMG player or someone like me, always running around a lot, I used to get caught quite a bit, and I think especially in the early stages, you know, sniping was really powerful at the start of the year, and this was when this map was getting played the most, and again, you just don't see it in the rotation anymore, and it's at 14 for me. At 13, we've got Deprogram, which was the other map that came in Season 6, and it was a cool concept of a map. I thought the teleporters were a cool addition, but because of where they teleported you to, in my opinion, it ruined the flow of the map. You obviously had the one side of the map with the cave, where you could kind of run through, and then you had the kind of mid-map, which was just, nobody goes mid-map, because obviously the teleporter takes you out to that building at the side of the map where you can look down at mid-map, you can get a lot of map control from up in that where the teleporter takes you to, and I think it just ruins the flow of the map. You know, I thought that having you know, the teleporters was kind of a cool addition, and it could have been good, but I just think in the end it didn't really work. And again, this map, I've not seen it in rotation since the 24/7 playlist was removed, so again, just not a map that I've really played that much. At 12, we've got Miami. Now this might be an unpopular opinion for this map to be so high up in the list, because I think probably for a lot of people this is regarded as the worst map in the game. For me, I've had quite a bit of fun on this map sniping, to be fair. I think it's the only way to really enjoy this map, and also because it was in league play, although it might not have been the best search and destroy map, I think that kind of helped just kind of play the map a bit more and get a few more reps on it. And I think again, the flow of this map was not ideal. There was a lot of open spaces, and I think the only real way to enjoy it was sniping. But for me, because of the time I played on it and the sort of league play side of it, I do think that it deserves to be where it is, just because I've had more good times on that map than I have on the 5 that I've ranked so far. At 11, we've got the Pines. Now the Pines came in during Season 1, and it's not an awful map, but just due to it mainly being indoors, it very much restricts what you can do, especially with aerial score streaks. The map was on the slightly larger side, and I think one side definitely had a little bit of an advantage because, you know, you could sit top eskies and just sort of hold down the middle of the map, and I think it'd be quite hard to challenge players if they knew what they were doing and they sat up there. So I think it's just one of the maps where it was just all down to sort of gunfights and using sort of score streaks that weren't sort of aerial streaks. So it wasn't an awful map. I think if it was outdoors, maybe a little bit smaller, it could have been better. But for me, the Pines just misses out on a top 10 slot. Right, so as we move now into the top 10, and the first map that kicks off the top 10 is Checkmate. Now, this was again a map that was in from the start of the game, and in my opinion, it's not an awful map. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it always plays very well in pubs, but competitively, especially Hardpoint on this map was really, really good. Has some really close games and some really fun games of Hardpoint on this map, and I always think that game modes make a big difference when it comes to opinions on maps, because there's a lot of things that, you know, go into what makes a good map. You know, does it flow well? Is there too many power spots and all that kind of stuff? But at the same time, I think it depends what sort of player you are and what sort of game modes you play, because some maps suit respawn, some maps suit search and destroy, and I think again, if there's a map that's good for search but not good for respawn, if you're a search player you might love it, whereas a respawn player might hate it, and, you know, vice versa. So I think for me, Checkmate, it was good for sort of competitive, not the greatest pub map, but it deserved its spot in the top 10 in my opinion. At number 9, we've got Satellite. Now, on first look, I thought this map was going to be absolutely awful. When they released it really early on, you know, I think it was one of the maps that was in the beta, and I just thought that no way that open space is going to work. But actually, this map didn't play out too bad, and the huge open spaces were not much of an issue as I thought they were going to be. And aerial score streaks, if you could get like VTOLs and chopper gunners on this map and they didn't get taken out, you could absolutely destroy the enemy team because there was literally nowhere to hide. So I think in the end, Satellite, it comes in at 9. I think it deserves its spot, and yeah, really not a bad map in the end. Now, at number 8, coming in Season 2 Reloaded, was Miami Strike. Now, it is technically its own map, but it is just Miami smaller with the lights on, so, you know, with the lights turned on. So basically, you know, whether people think it deserves to have its own spot, I don't know, but I think this map played quite well, especially for a submachine gun player. Obviously, it was much smaller than the original Miami. However, I just didn't think it deserved to be that high because it was part of Miami. I think if this had been the original Miami at night time, but just this small, I think it could have played really well, and I think it would have been a map that people enjoyed. But I think just because it is Miami cut down to be smaller, I didn't feel like it deserved to be any higher than number 8. But I do think it played much better, especially, like I say, for submachine gun players. Number 7, we've got Diesel. That came in Season 3. Now, it's definitely one of the better maps in Black Ops Cold War, and I think it was a good size as well. There wasn't much indoor room, so aerial streaks again were quite powerful on this map. However, there was one side of the map that was really open, and it was kind of a no-go zone really, because each side of the map had you know, places where you could, you know, obviously sit up top one side with a sniper, and then you had the other side where you had that kind of wall that you could sit behind. Obviously, with the sort of sights you get as well on fully auto guns on this game, you could really look over that open space and just catch anybody running through it. So I think a lot of the time people used to play sort of mid-map or the other side of the map, but there was that nasty head glitch from the other side of the map. So I think at points this map was quite hard to move on, dependent on the enemy team you were playing. If you were playing against other people that just wanted to run around, you could have some good fun on this map. But I think if you played against a team that liked to sit up and use those kind of power spots, then it did sometimes make this map a little bit difficult. But it's Diesel that comes in at number 7. Now, at number 6, and narrowly missing out on a top 5 slot, is Garrison. Now, Garrison again was in from the beginning. It was probably my favourite map at the start of the year. Had some really, really good competitive league play games on here, especially for Hardpoint. But control competitively wasn't that great on this map, because it was quite easy to defend. I can't remember if it was, I think it was the B zone was quite easy to defend. But control in pubs played quite well, because obviously it was a little bit less competitive and you could kind of flank a lot better. But obviously in league, people are kind of expecting it. And this map as well, in recent time, although it's not in the rotation that often, does play really, really well for demolition. And I literally live in demolition now in Cold War, so that definitely helps buff Garrison a little bit further up the list to number 6. So as we move into the top 5, and kicking us off is Crossroads Strikes. Now again, in from the start was a smaller version of the Combined Arms map that they did for Crossroads. I think it's one of the smaller maps in the game, which I think always helps. You never want a map to be too small, but I think at the same time people are done with running around big maps. You know, you look back, I remember on Modern Warfare 2, you'd get like Derail or something and you'd play it, and it was horrendously big, but you'd still play it. But nowadays, I just can't be bothered. I don't want to be running around maps for ages and ages looking for people. So Crossroads Strike, obviously being a smaller map, definitely helped. The only problem with this map is there was quite a few spots on the map that suited campers, where people could sit up with snipers or LMGs, and I just think that that's the only reason this map wasn't higher up, was that it could be ruined depending on who you were playing against. But it did play really, really well for control and demolition. Really, really good games on this map. Now at number 4, and this may surprise a few, is Echelon. Came in Season 5 and I was not full of praise for this map when it first dropped. However, it has grown on me and I've had many good games on this map. Again, it plays really well in Demolition, and I think the fact that Echelon comes in at number 4 just kind of goes to show, I don't want to say how poor the maps were in this game, but how kind of difficult it is to rank them, because I feel like, you know, the Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 maps that came in definitely saved this game. I think if it wasn't for those maps, I don't think many people would be left playing it. But Echelon for me has grown on me. It comes in at number 4, and I think probably from 4 down to like 9, 10, you probably could have ranked any of those maps in any order. They've all got good parts and not so good parts. But yeah, Echelon in at number 4 for me. Kicking us off in the top 3 is Moscow. Now, I think Moscow is the best original map in the game. I really like this map now. It played so well in competitive, had some really good hardpoint games on this map, and Search and Destroy. And I don't even like Search and Destroy, but obviously in competitive you have to play it, and really enjoyed Search on this map. I think this map flows really well, and it also plays extremely well for Demolition in Publics, and it's probably one of the only OG maps, bar the odd game of Garrison, that I still see in the rotation now. And I don't know what they've done. I don't know if they've just buffed more maps to come through in the rotation, but you really do not see that. I play about the same 6 or 7 maps now, which mainly are Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 maps, and then Moscow and the odd Garrison game. So it's really weird, but yeah, definitely one of the only ones left in the rotation, and a really decent map, to be fair. Coming in at number 2 is Yamantau. Now, Yamantau came in Season 3. I wasn't sure how I felt about this map when it first dropped, but it's really grown on me, and I really do like it now. It plays extremely well in Demolition and Respawn game modes, and I've had some really close maps on this game, close games on this map as well, and I think the spawns are really decent, and it's just one of the maps that it really has grown on me. There's different kind of ways you can go to kind of pull flanks and stuff, but there's not too many, and it kind of keeps, it's quite action packed, not too many quiet points on the map, and deserves a spot at number 2. And at number 1, and if you play Cold War you will have guessed it now, is Apocalypse. Came in Season 2, and there was never a doubt in my mind that this map was going to be number 1. It's my favourite map in the game, and it's a country mile clear of the rest in my opinion. It came in, like I said, in Season 2 and was pulled straight in for competitive, for hardpoint, and there was some really good hardpoint games. I mean, I've had some good hardpoint games on this map, and I've watched some good hardpoint games in the CDL this year on Apocalypse. This map really does suit SMGs, and also plays really well in Control and Demolition. However, the mode doesn't really matter on this map. It's just a really good flow map, and I've had good games in all types of different modes on this map. It's just one of their maps that's really good. The only map as well that I think can rival the Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 maps is Apocalypse, and I wouldn't be against it returning in future tryout games. I don't want to chuck the word classic around. I think it's really hard for modern day maps to make it as classics. I think, you know, with a lot of the sort of classic maps that we look at from the history of the franchise, they are good maps, but they're always on classic games. You're always like, oh, that map was on Modern Warfare 2, it was a classic. Oh, that was on Black Ops 1, it's a classic. That was on Black Ops 2, a classic, and so on. But I think Apocalypse is definitely a map that, whether it deserves to be one of the best maps in history, I don't know, but I wouldn't be against it returning, like I said, in future tryout games, and I wouldn't be against putting it on the kind of classic Call of Duty list, because I think it really has been really decent this year, and has competed with the Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2 maps. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I really enjoyed putting this together, and it was something a little bit different, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it too. If you did, please do hit the like button down below, and let me know down in the comments whether you agree with me, disagree. I'd love to hear what you guys think and what your lists are, so let me know down in the comments. And as always, guys, if you are brand new around here and want to find your way back for more, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.